Get yourself settled so that you're comfortable. No sense being uncomfortable while we're doing this. And take a few deep breaths. Check that you've got enough room in your body, however you're set up, so that you can breathe deeply. And notice everything that's in your attention right now in this moment. There could be sounds. There's sense perceptions. The perceptions of touch and temperature, the feeling of the back of our body, however it is we're connected with our environment through a chair or through the floor or whatever it is. And we can notice our internal environment as well. Our muscles, our internal processes like digestion and swallowing and blinking, and all of that kind of thing. We have the movement of our body with the breath and that feeling of air flowing in through the nose. And our breath has a certain rhythm and pattern. And we know from experience that we feel more relaxed when we breathe in a deeper, slower, more continuous way. So the body might be automatically doing that even as we're checking in. Bring your attention up to the area of the forehead, behind, in front, that whole area where thought shows up. And notice what it feels like. What's the energy like in your thoughts? Not so much the content at the moment, just the energy of it. Does your thought stream feel kind of frantic or quite relaxed or medium? And even as we pull back and take that observer or witness stand, the thoughts will often calm a bit. And notice all the energy in your body. Do a slow scan from head to toes. Notice the energy of the face, the head, the front and the back. Down through the arms, through the torso, the front of the torso, the chest muscles, the stomach muscles, the sides and the back, from the back of the neck through the large muscles of the upper back, shoulder blades, down through the lower back and the hips. And down through the legs as well, connecting through your awareness, connecting your whole body from head to toes. Connecting yourself to your environment, aware of the feeling of energy at the base of your feet, the soles. How it is that you're connected with the environment that you're in, through the back of your body probably. And as we're observing, it gives us that opportunity to see what's here, to see if there's anything of concern or if things are feeling kind of relaxed. And we also have the opportunity to notice that things like this change all the time. We never have exactly the same experience. And our experience now is different than it was 3.5 minutes ago, and it's different than it'll be 10 hours from now. Experiences come and go. they change all the time. It's the nature of that type of experience. Even the most intense state of bliss, of distress, none of those are present forever. They come and they go. And so we can notice that, we can witness and observe that. That's true to our experience. Things do change. And then let everything that changes move into the background for a moment. Be aware of what it is that never changes. And then at some point we'll notice that the foreground has captured our attention again. If you've ever watched a puppy following the movement of a butterfly, our mind is kind of like that at times. We get caught by something and we just follow it along, and then we notice things settle. We might notice there's a gap of several seconds between that thought and the next thought. In that space, we can observe what's happening in our environment, our body, our breath, our mind. We can remember that we are also witnessing our experience. We're having our experience and we're noticing it. And we notice it on so many levels. We notice it on the body, the energy. We're very responsive to our experience. As we move into the inquiry, try to keep all of this at least peripherally in your attention. What's happening in your body, your environment, everything that you can sense happening around you. Also the witnessing or the observer, that we're watching it. And if memories come up, even if they're quite intense, they're coming up in this moment as a memory. It's not a situation that we're in right now. And keep in touch with your breath. Let's look at these words, appreciative joy. It's an unusual phrase. It's not something we generally hear day to day. Appreciative joy. Hear those sounds or look at the words like they're written in the mind's eye or on a piece of paper or something. And notice the font, the color, if it's heavy and black, if it's light and colored, all those kinds of things about the words. Notice the shapes. What do they look like on the page or in your mind's eye? Appreciative joy. And if you connect more with the sound, notice the sound, there's silence, and then there's a certain type of vibration. It sounds a certain way hearing it out loud, it sounds a certain way in the mind. And notice your response. Just to the words. This phrase is a practice that's done in the yoga tradition and I think the Buddhist tradition as well, meaning that we appreciate good fortune that's happening with other people or to other people. Often when somebody has a baby or some happy event happens in their life, we'll feel that tide of well wishes for them. We're happy for them. We understand that feeling of joy, and we're happy that they have that feeling right now. And the same as when someone has a misfortune or someone dies, or we know that someone's feeling very sad, we'll often really appreciate that and connect with them on a level. So there's something that we could bring to mind, and do that right now. Bring to mind some examples of when you feel genuinely happy for someone else's good fortune. And notice what comes up. If it's a memory, we could see it as a still picture or a video clip. You might see the person's face or hear their voice as they were telling us the news. And stay with your breath and stay connected to the energy in your body. And notice if there's any hesitation. At some point, it's very common for there to have this bit of a reservation come in about really bringing it back to ourselves. Well, that's wonderful for them. Why don't I have that? In some either subtle or overt form. Just keep in mind whatever it is that came up, whatever situation or person that you're thinking about, where you feel a heartfelt joy for them. And notice if there's anything coming up around, I wish I had that too, or even maybe a bit of jealousy that they have it and I don't. If you notice any unkindness or judgment coming up, let's see if you can let that go. This is human nature. There's nothing particularly horrible about us because we have those feelings at times. So without making yourself wrong, see if you could allow yourself to just really see there's this person that you care about that has some good fortune. You feel that joy for them, the appreciative joy. And there might be other things here too. We're just looking. Notice the energy in your body. Notice your breath. Remember, tune back into that observer. We're watching things come up. We're doing an inquiry. And then let that all move to the side. It's interesting to come back to things like that when you have more time, and you can really sit and let everything come through. But for now, set it aside, and let's come into looking at someone who has real good fortune, but you don't think it's fair. They didn't deserve it. Maybe they got a job promotion, but they lied to get it, or they stepped on someone to get it. Notice what comes up when we're looking at that, if a example comes to mind. Notice the energy in our body. It's probably quite different. We might feel quite justified for not wishing them well. If we were judging ourselves before for not wishing them well, that might not be the case with this. Just notice the elements that come up around this. Stay in touch with your breath. Keep in touch with that observer or witness. It's important to see the associated thoughts that come up and also notice the energy that's triggered with something like this. Notice your response. And then let that move to the side now. Take a few deeper breaths. Clear the stage. And now bring to mind some good fortune that you've had or have right now. It could be in the past, it could be right now. It could be a blessing that you feel for a friend or whatever it is for you. Bring to mind some good fortune that you've had. And notice if you can feel appreciative joy for yourself. It could be something very simple like a friend. It could be a recognition. See what comes to mind and notice your response to it. We're witnessing in the body, the breath, the energy, the thoughts. And notice if there's any hesitation, any contraction, anything like, well, I don't really deserve that, or it feels kind of odd to be appreciating myself that way, or whatever it is. Notice your response and if there's any hesitation or contraction. Giving ourselves appreciative joy. There might be thoughts of not deserving. Just have a look at that. See if you can let that go. We're not trying to get rid of it. We're just seeing it and seeing if it actually has to keep us entranced in that, or if it's okay just to see it and let it go. We're giving ourselves this appreciative joy for our own good fortune. And then let that move to the side as well. Come back to this kind of this regular awareness. We're just looking at what's happening. You could take a moment to go back through the 3 practices and see if there's anything you want to come back to. Some interesting things may have come up. And then let that go for a minute. We're going to just focus on the body, the breath, our energy. Letting thought move to the background. Take some deeper breaths as you're inhaling. Feel the lower rib cage expand. The air fills the lungs. And take a few exhalations of at least 6 seconds or longer. Exhale deeply. Let your whole body relax. Notice the energy in your body, the energy of thought. And then let all of that that's in the foreground move to the background for a moment and notice the space itself. What it is that never changes. And then when you're ready, open your eyes.